Under what conditions do you think violent resistance is acceptable?
Under what conditions?
Yep.
Violent what?
Resistance.
Is what?
Acceptable, is okay.
It's not.
But you said before that the Palestinians, everything they do is okay.
The Palestinians, I wasn't talking about Hamas.
Oh, well, they are, well.
No, it's two different things.
Okay.
I'm not for terrorism, but
Okay.
I'm for fighting for your country and, you know, doing...
So define fighting in this sense, if you're against violence.
Fighting is something that you can do, which is not for civilians. It's
Which is not what?
against civilians.
Okay.
It could be... it can be in violent attacks, but not in civilian ways. You can do it against armies, you can do it with fighting, you can do it in many ways, but not against civilians that didn't do anything.
Under what conditions would you say it's okay to have violent resistance? To act violently against something?
To act, like you mean to act okay? Like to act
violently.
Violently. Alim.
He's saying, his point was that the Palestinians have a right to resist. That's what they call it. Okay. To resist, and they have a right to use violence because they are occupied. He's asking Israelis under what conditions. I said I don't agree. Under what conditions?
Let me ask you, why violent? First of all.
Okay. So are there ever conditions where it's okay to use violence?
No condition to use violence. First of all, no violence. Just to speak. The same way they're doing America, Canada, Israel, whatever. We don't need violence. We don't need a bomb. We don't need fighting. We can talk, we can speak. Everybody the same people. I have the same blood like you. Mm-hmm. Everybody going up underground. Everybody dying. Nobody take with him nothing. They're not gonna take nothing with him. First of all, violence, you have to cancel it. No violence. We can speak, we can talk, we can respect, they can respect. That's it, that's what I think. Why violent? Why? Why people dying? Why children dying? And you can see that. You can see the neighbors in Syria. And also in Gaza, and also the killing, you know, one of one they're doing that. They're killing, and everybody killing everybody. Why killing? We don't have those things here in Israel. If somebody do that, he's going to punish them. And you know that. Look what happened with the black people. There was close to the
border.
And they use with that. They are accused with that. And they kill people, and some of soldiers of us dying. Because why? Because they give them a food. They use with those from those black people.
Sudan.
The Sudan people. So they use with him. They use because they were staying over there. That's it. Why violence? Why killing? Why knife? Why bombing? Why? Nice people, nice life. We just want to live. That's it.
Under any conditions, would you think that using violence for oppressed people is okay?
No, I don't think violence, not that it is okay or not okay, I just think it won't do any good besides bring more violence. That's the only thing it can do. So I think even if you're oppressed, and in a certain way we're all oppressed, some more, some less, the way to do it is by non-violent direct action.
Okay, in this case, the person who asked the question is Palestinian, and he's saying people who live under occupation, he believes, have the right to use violence.
Again, I don't think it's about the right or not right. I think once you use violence, you attract violence back. And if the other side is stronger by military force, whatever, then the strike will be stronger. So I think it's more than anything, it's a wrong and irrational way of liberating yourself.
Do you think that there are conditions when using violence for resisting, let's say, the occupation is okay?
No, I don't think so.
There's no conditions? Okay. Do you think there is ever a time or situation where it's okay to use violence because people suffer?
Yes.
Okay. Under what circumstances?
Well, I mean, nature isn't the most gentle of things. Like, there's hurricanes and earthquakes and all sorts of storms, and predators eat their prey. So, I don't know if it's good or bad. With humans, it's a bit different, I guess.
Okay.
We have the understanding of what we're doing at times. But at the same time, if someone starts with you...
Okay, so for example, this question came from somebody who's Palestinian. It's okay to use violence against Israeli soldiers or Israeli civilians?
Well, that's a tricky one. I don't think it is.
Okay.
Because it's not in my interest. I have a personal interest invested. And I would prefer that Palestinians don't use violence against Israelis. I'd also rather they don't complain when the Israelis use violence against them. Because,
yeah, can you explain what you mean?
Well, I'm a hypocrite and I'm biased.
Okay.
But that's because I'm a human being. It's natural.
Okay. This question came from somebody who's Palestinian, who said, when...
Palestinian from where?
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem, that's Palestinian.
Okay, so they said, when, under what circumstances is it acceptable for people to use violence against injustice?
No, under no circumstances, unless you're at war, and whomever comes to kill you, you kill them first. That's it.
Okay, but define that, because...
I am not defining anything. If there is war and somebody comes to my house to kill me, I will then kill to fight and protect my family. That's all. That's where it starts. That's when it ends. Because killing is murder, and murder is not allowed. Murder is, you have to sit in prison for that. For any reason. For any reason. So, you know, when you're in the army and you go to war and people declare war on you, then you have to go and do whatever you have to do, you know. But the Israeli army is a very moral army. If it wouldn't have been that, then in Gaza, you couldn't have counted the people that would be dead. And I find it such a double standard that every day in Syria, people are being murdered in the hundreds, and the world say nothing. In China, you can kill in the square of the city 800 students, nobody says a thing. But if an Israeli kills a person, then you advertise it all over the world. What is it with you? It just doesn't make sense. We are very moral, and I'm happy people are not killed for nothing.
באיזה תנאים את חושבת שאפשר להשתמש באלימות בעניין פוליטי?
בעניין פוליטי?
כן, נגיד בשטחים. כאילו, זה בא מפלסטיני, כאילו...
באלימות לפי דעתי אין שום דבר שצריך להשתמש. לפי דעתי, שום דבר באלימות לא יכול להביא אותנו לשום מקום. בשטחים, אתה מדבר גם כאילו בקטע של הצבא, נכון?
כן. כי הם אומרים שבגלל שיש צבא ולהם אין, אז מותר להם להשתמש באלימות. ממש
לא, כי ברגע שחייל רואה שהוא נמצא בסכנה, בשביל להציל את החיים שלו, הוא חייב להשתמש במשהו אם לא שומעים בקולו ויכולים להיכנס עם איזה חומר נפץ על הגוף ולהתפוצץ. זה לא... רק במצב כזה. אבל סך הכל אלימות זה דבר גרוע, לא משנה באיזה מצב, אם זה בצבא ואם זה בטוח בקטע של השטחים. אבל עוד פעם, בגלל זה שאנחנו נמצאים במדינה כזו שזה שום דבר לא צפוי, ומתי שלא היו זהירים מספיק, אז הרבה חיילים נהרגו לנו, אז חייבים להשתמש כנראה באלימות. זה לא נקרא אלימות לפי דעתי, זה הגנה.
Do you think it's ever okay to use violence for political gain?
Nothing. Violence is not the answer.
Okay.
Nothing.
Do you think it's okay to use violence for people who suffer?
I think it's okay to use violence if someone else uses violence against you.
Okay. So do you think it's okay for Palestinians to use violence against Israeli soldiers? Because Israeli soldiers use violence against them.
I think it's the other way around. I see it's the other way around.
Okay, explain.
I think that historically they used violence against Jews, if you go way back. And as a reaction, yeah, I think it's like a snowball. I think it's they use aggression against us, we use aggression against them, and so on and so forth. I don't think it's we use aggression against them. I think it's this is the state now. They use against us, we use against them, and so on and so forth. I think
so you see everything that Israel does as reaction as opposed to action?
I don't think we're angels. I think it's pretty condescending if to say that they're to blame for everything. But I don't think it's the way that as people portray it. But I do think that we should treat Arabs more humanely. I mean, consider for the Israeli soldiers. I mean, we don't need to. I mean, for example, when they, I don't know how to say it in English, like the mahsumim.
At the checkpoints?
At the checkpoints. I think we should be more humane, but and treat them more humanely. I mean, and not push them or to treat them the way some soldiers treat them. After all, we are human, and when humans feel they have the upper hand, sometimes they mistreat people. I think this is something that should be banned. On the other hand, at some point, I think it comes from previous experiences that, for example, they were humane and somebody like take advantage of this situation and like explode or something like that. But I think each case should be considered, and if someone is actually mistreating someone, then yes, he should be punished severely, even if it's our soldiers, especially if it's our soldiers.
Do you think that there is ever a time when violence should be used because people suffer?
To use violence
because of suffering?
People suffer?
Because they suffer.
No, it's not good anytime.
On what conditions would you think it's okay to have violent resistance?
When I don't know.
Okay. Do you ever think it's legitimate to have violent resistance?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think when it's life-threatening. So I think when your life is in danger, it's okay.
Okay. And define life as in danger, meaning somebody's coming after you with a knife, or someone's planning something.
I have to define it in two different ways.
Okay.
The first way is what is really life-threatening, and the second thing is what is violent resistance. Because violent resistance, as long as if it's blowing up buses in the middle of a city, then it's not legit. It's just murder for murder. But if I know that my life depends on something, so I'll reach it. I'll reach and do it no matter what. So it's a bit a conflict. It's not a simple answer. There's no simple answer for it.